What is going on, guys? This is Jake at That Fit Friend, and today we're going to be reviewing the Inov-8 Bare-XF 210 V3. So 4 things to like about this model is number 1, the reworked upper construction I think is awesome for the shoe. So we have a breathable mesh throughout, we have the Rope-Tec that Inov-8 features in a couple of their training shoes, and we have an added TPU layer up here on the toe for additional protection. So when it comes to upper constructions, I think this is a great blend of 1, breathability, but 2, also versatility and durability. So you can wear the shoe in a variety of settings and know that the upper is going to hold up and breathe really well for you. The second thing to like about this model is the overall sole construction. So the sole of this model is super maneuverable, super close to the ground. It features a 3mm power footbed, and we have some Metaflex tech up here in the forefoot. So when it comes to feeling the ground below you and feeling very, very minimalist, this is a fantastic model for giving you like that proprioceptive feedback that you want from the ground with a barefoot shoe. The third pro with this model is that I think if you are a functional fitness athlete, or if you're somebody just getting into barefoot shoes, this is a really good model to look into. With the upper construction and how durable it is, it holds up really well in functional fitness workouts. So for things like rope climbs, toe dragging movements, this shoe's upper should be a bit more durable than other barefoot shoes out there. Plus, from an aesthetics point of view, this model looks freaking awesome. Honestly, it's one of the better looking barefoot shoes that I have seen to date, and you can rock it on a casual basis. So if you are getting into barefoot shoes, you can wear this out and about, and it looks freaking awesome. The fourth thing to like about this model is the overall lightweight nature of it. So this is a shoe that honestly I forget I have on at times, and that's because it's so lightweight and breathable and honestly just moves so well that it feels very much like a sock. So if you like having a shoe that is very sock-like with its fit and feel, then I think you're really going to like this model. But now let's talk about a couple of cons I have noticed with this shoe. So 2 cons I have noticed with this shoe is number 1, the overall toe box actually isn't as wide as other barefoot shoes on the market. And actually when I first put these on, I thought they were actually a little bit narrow, but they break in due to the upper construction being as maneuverable as it is. So I don't think most folks will have an issue with this. However, if you are somebody with a very wide foot and you really want that maximal width in the toe box with your barefoot shoe, that is something to think about with this model. This model has a size 4 fit for Inov-8. So basically Inov-8 sizes their shoes with like a 1 through 5, 1 being the most narrow, 5 being the widest. This has a 4, so it should be a bit wider than other Inov-8 training shoes. However, compared to other barefoot shoes, once again, the toe box is a little bit limited. Now, the second con I've noticed with this model is speaking to that more maneuverable mesh upper. When you're doing lateral work, I have noticed I have a little bit of overlap here with the upper construction. So I noticed that my foot slides a tiny bit. Again, it's not the biggest issue, especially if I really lock down that midfoot, but it is something to think about, especially if you have a slightly more narrow or neutral foot anatomy where you may slide a little bit more in this model when doing lateral work. It's not something that I think is going to affect a ton of folks with their workouts, but it's definitely something worth noting for the shoe. Overall though, I have really enjoyed this model besides those 2 little aspects, but now let's talk about performance. Hey, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Every week I am publishing a variety of training, shoe, and apparel content, so if you love any of those verticals, then I think you'll like the channel. But now let's get back to the review. So now when chatting on performance in this model, we're going to break this section into a few different parts. We'll talk about lifting, more versatile training, running, and daily wear. Now on a lifting basis, I have really enjoyed this shoe. With the overall maneuverable sole, you can really feel the ground below you. So if you want to bias how you're producing force into the ground with your foot, this is a great model for allowing you to do that. Plus, with its overall upper construction, it feeds really well, I think, into a lifting setting in regard to its overall durability. Plus, it feels very sock-like, so it's great for things like deadlifts or basically any activity where you are going to be wanting to really engage the feet with the ground with its overall 0mm drop construction. For more versatile training, I think this shoe is a hit. So not every barefoot shoe is going to be good in something like a CrossFit or functional fitness setting, and that's due to usually having upper constructions that are not that durable in nature. With the Rope-Tec in this model and the reinforced TPU toe box, I think this shoe is a better pick for things like burpees, rope climbs, etc. Anything where you're going to have a little bit more abrasion on the upper. Plus, I think this model is a good bet for those who want to get more acclimated to barefoot shoes with more functional fitness training. So across the board for functional fitness and lifting, this model has been a hit. So now when it comes to running, I also really like the shoe. With the overall sticky rubber sole and that MetaFlex construction up here in the toe box, you get a lot of responsiveness from this model. So you get a lot of pop and a lot of feedback from the ground, especially if you're doing things like sprints, shorter runs, or even mid-range runs. So across the board for running, I think this model is also a really good pick. Plus with the overall breathability of the upper construction, you can wear them outside or in classes, etc., where you might be doing a little bit of running and your feet don't get overly hot. Now on a day-to-day wear basis, I also really like this shoe. Its upper construction is very clean, it looks very aesthetic, and you can rock it with gear outside of just your training apparel. So you can rock this with jeans, you can rock this with shorts, etc., and it looks really good. So across the board, I think this model performs really well. So now let's answer the question, is this model worth it? I think if you are getting into barefoot shoes for the first time, or if you're a functional fitness athlete, then I think this model is worth it. With its overall upper construction, it can perform well in a variety of tasks, and it looks great, so you can wear it on a daily basis and to your training sessions. So if you want any of that with your barefoot shoe, then I think this is a fantastic model for tackling your asks. So now when chatting on sizing and fit in this shoe, you should be safe going true to size. Now I mentioned when I first put this on, I actually thought the toe box was a little bit snug, to be quite honest. However, after even just one session, the upper broke in really well, so I think most folks should be safe going true to size in this shoe, and it will break in fairly well for you. So now when discussing price for this model, you can expect to pay $120 USD. Compared to other barefoot shoes, this is like right in the middle of the road. There are definitely more cost-efficient models out there, but then there are definitely way more expensive models out there. So $120 USD is pretty in line, I think, for what this shoe can deliver for your ask. So across the board, I do think that price is pretty fair for this model. So now when talking on the weight, drop, and insole in this model, for my size 10 shoe here, we have a weight of 6.95 ounces. This model features a 0mm heel to toe drop, and the insole in this model is removable. So now let's go over the key construction features in the Inov-8 Bare-XF 210 V3. So up here on the toe box, we have a sole that wraps up and over the toe here. As you can see, we have an extended layer here, and then we have that reinforced TPU layer here covering the toe box as well, which is great for overall durability. We have a mesh upper throughout the toe box, and then we have that Inov-8 Rope-Tec throughout the midfoot here, and then we have additional heel support back here as well. So overall, I really do enjoy the upper in this model. It's very lightweight, very maneuverable, and as you can see, like, it moves really well with the overall construction and build of this shoe. Running up the midfoot here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 eyelets running up with the 6 for lace locking back there. And then also the tongue itself is decently thick and wide, which is also awesome because some of the barefoot shoes out there have thinner tongues, which can be prone to breakdown, especially if you're not careful with how you are putting them on. The overall sole construction in this model features a sticky rubber construction. We have some MetaFlex tech up here, and overall it is very maneuverable. As you can see, it doesn't take a lot to bend this sole at all. And we have a 3mm power footbed in this shoe. We do have a removable insole once again, so you can take the insole out. We do not have a finished internal portion of the shoe like other barefoot shoes. However, with how close you are to the ground with this model and with how thin the overall insole is, I think most folks should be fine just leaving the insole in. But if you do have your own custom orthotics, or if you want to put your own insole in, you can definitely do so in this model. So we have Inov-8 branding here on the lateral side, Inov-8 branding back here on the heel, and we do have some subtle branding up here on the lateral toe with that Bare-XF 210 riding right here. But overall, those I think are the key construction features in this model. If you have any questions on the construction in this shoe, hit me in the comments below and I will answer whatever you have. All right guys, that wraps up my review of the Inov-8 Bare-XF 210 V3. Gosh, that name is long. If you have any questions on this model, hit me in the comments below or reach out to me personally, whichever you prefer. Across the board, I have really enjoyed this shoe, so ask away for whatever you have. And as always, guys, drop a like on this video, drop a subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one.